The Air Force Falcons are back at home and flying high after going on the road and grounding the New Mexico Lobos with their air attack. Now the Falcons are looking to get another upset against the Boise State Broncos, who are tied with Utah State for the lead in the Mountain West. The Falcons will try to win their first game at home since before Thanksgiving. Will they feast on one of the top teams in the Mountain West, or will Boise State continue their winning ways as they try to win the Mountain West title? Find out next. Conference game in February means that the conference tournament is right around the corner. But before we get there, we have some business to take care of first, right here inside of Clune Arena, as the Air Force Falcons look to pull off the upset against the Boise State Broncos. And good evening, everyone. I'm Justin Adams here with Rachel Gallagher, and what a day it was for the Falcons on Saturday as they were able to go on the road and beat New Mexico 78-77, snapping a 13-game road losing streak to the Lobos.
Yeah, and I mean, that win against New Mexico was exactly the type of momentum the Falcons needed headed into this final stretch of the regular season, but they've got a big test tonight with #1 in town.
Yeah, and in order for the Falcons to get another upset, they're going to have to rely on their dynamic duo of Regis Petrides and Bo Becker.
Becker is shooting 41% from deep this season, and his ability to stretch the floor puts so much pressure on the defense. We've talked about it time and time again. When he's knocking down perimeter shots and being aggressive offensively, this team can have success. And Regis Petrides, coming off that game-winning three-pointer against New Mexico over the weekend, the energy he brings to the court is contagious, and he can impact the game in so many ways, both offensively and defensively. They're going to need a big one from here tonight.
Regis Petrides was very efficient. He scored 15 points in only 21 minutes of play. On the opposite end, when you talk about Bo Becker, that young man scored 19 points. So it's very important that both guys will have a great game today. Now on the opposite side, when you look at Boise State, they're led by the Player of the Year candidate. That's Tyson Degenhart.
I mean, one of the best players in the conference. He's been consistent all year long, leads Boise State in scoring at just under 17 points per game. He's up that production in the last 6 games, is averaging 22 points per game. Like you said, Player of the Year candidate in the Mountain West, and this team knows that they can rely on him night in and night out.
Well, the Boise State Broncos have won 7 of the last matchups against the Air Force Falcons, but you know what? The Falcons, there have been streak busters, and they will look to snap another one tonight. Should be a very exciting one right here on Altitude Sports and Entertainment. Coming up next, the starting lineup as well as the tip. Air Force Basketball on Altitude is brought to you by Intermountain Health, helping people live the healthiest lives possible. And We'll welcome you back inside Clune Arena as the Falcons come in with a 9-17 record, 2-12 in conference play as they take on the Boise State Broncos, 19-8, 10-4 in conference play. So with that, let's take a look at tonight's starters presented by Intermountain Health, helping people live the healthiest lives possible. One change here for Air Force. Jeffrey Mills will be out of the lineup today, so taking over his spot will be Byron Brown. So this will be his 5th start of the season. On the opposite side, you see for Boise State, you see this is the lineup that they want to have, they will always have, and keep an eye on number 2 Tyson Degenhardt as well as Omar Stanley. This young man knows how to grab a lot of rebounds, averaging just above 6 rebounds a game.
Boise State coming in, averaging 76 points per game, but they've really upped that production these last 3 games. They've been on an absolute tear, averaging 88, shooting the ball really well, shooting 50% from the floor. We talked about a little bit in the open. Air Force coming off that big win at New Mexico. It's going to be interesting to see how much that momentum really carries them here tonight.
And you take a look at the head coach of the Air Force Falcons, and that's Joe Scott, his 8th season on the job, 90-136 in his 2nd stint with the Falcons. On the opposite side, the head coach for the Boise State Broncos is Leon Rice, and he is a mainstay in the Mountain West Conference. This is his 14th season on the job, and this young man knows how to win a lot of great basketball games. You see him right there. 287, 162 record overall has led the Boise State Broncos to back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances, and I believe they're going to be in the tourney yet again this year, Rachel.
Yeah, the winningest coach in Boise State men's basketball history. Let's take a look at some of my keys for the game. You know, I think for the Air Force Falcons, in order for them to have success tonight, they have got to be physical. They've got to be tough. That's something head coach Joe Scott has talked about. And we win the rebounding battle. I mean, those 2 keys, in my opinion, go hand in hand. It's going to be a toughness factor for the Falcons, and they've got to at least keep it marginally close on the glass.
Was able to see Boise State take on Wyoming on Saturday. They won that game 92-72. And the main thing that my color commentator at the time, what he said was gritty over pretty, and that really describes what Boise State is all about. They want to go and muck the game up as much as possible. Very strong defensively, and has one of the best road records in the Mountain West. So as you see, the Broncos come out in their black tops, black bottoms, blue numbering, and white outlining. On the opposite side, you see the Air Force Falcons in their white tops, white bottoms, silver numbering, and blue outlining. Our referees for today's game, Rainey McCall, Eric Curry, and Bill Vinovich. And this will be a rematch of a game on February 3rd where Boise State beat the Falcons 94-56. Will the Falcons get the upset and get revenge? They get the tip, and we get things started off here at Clune Arena.
Got to really look at Air Force, you know, moving the ball, being intentional on the offensive end. Got to get Bo Becker into some pick and pop type of action. Would love to see Ethan Taylor get going a little bit offensively. He's cooled down throughout the course of the season, but Air Force going to work the shot clock down and really be intentional, try and find those weak spots in the defense.
Brown getting to start, kicks it in the corner. Boylan will be fouled on the play. And Kellen Boylan, the last time that we did a game of his, had 9 3-pointers. That young man was just on fire against Wyoming. That was the last time that we were able to broadcast the game, as it's the first team foul on Boise State. And a beautiful pass under to Petritis, and he just blows the layup. So everything was right there for the Falcons, and that leads to a 3-point opportunity that's no good by Boise State.
It's a good job by the Falcons of getting back in that transition defense. Being able to keep Boise State at 1 and done is going to be extremely important. Controlling the pace of the game is going to be another key that we didn't talk about.
By the way, the foul was on Max Rice, who is the coach's son, actually 2 of the coach's son for Boise State, plays for Boise. As we have another foul on the floor. And that one will be on Roddy Anderson III. So 2 team fouls early for Boise State. And you see a lot of movement from Air Force early on. This is something they have to do on offense in order to keep the Broncos off balance.
Yeah, I think at times this team can kind of fall in love with the 3-point shot. And this is one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the Mountain West. The Falcons shooting close to 37%. But you can tell kind of the game plan here early on in this one is just being aggressive and attacking the paint, trying to give the Broncos a little bit of a taste of their own medicine here.
Degenhardt knocking the ball out of play. 12 seconds on the shot clock. And there's Bo Becker. Falcons getting a 1-point win over New Mexico. Taylor may have to force it up, but he took too many steps. Still scoreless, just a minute into this ball game.
We're just warming up here.
Just warming up, getting things rolling around a little bit. Broncos have the ball for the second time. They're a team that averages 76 points a game. Very efficient. How about this? The last 3 games they've won by a margin of 28 points. They have just been amazing these last couple of games.
Well, I think part of what makes this team so good is they don't just settle for good shots, they settle for great shots. And that's something that this team, Leon Rice feels like, we've done a lot better at here this last month. It's just we're playing our best basketball because we're being so methodical and we're being so smart in the way that we're playing offensively.
Boise State 0 for 2 from downtown. And like you said, just being efficient, getting those great shots. Don't know about the first 2 shots they took, but a beautiful pass and it's stolen away. And here comes Boise State, and they want to run. Degenhardt looking for some help. Lost the handle. Gets it inside. Stanley won't get the roll, but he will go to the line to shoot 2.
It's so tough to defend turnovers. 2 quick turnovers there by the Falcons, and you can see Boise State trying to really just establish down low. Bo Becker comes over and just a little bit too much contact there. He was going up with that shot. It will be on the ground, so Boise State will take it out.
All right, so the foul was on Ethan Taylor. That's his first, team first. Still scoreless in this one. As you say, both teams trying to warm up. Actually, Boise State has been on the road for a while. They've been on the road since last Wednesday. As taken in is Agba. And Agbo will go to the line this time to shoot 2.
It's such a good, strong, aggressive take. You look at the power that he plays with, and this is something Air Force is struggling with defensively, just guarding their man, guarding their yard, those straight line drives to the rim. That's an area Joe Scott said, we've got to be better at that tonight if we're going to stand a chance in this matchup.
Eventually somebody will score. I promise you it's going to happen sometime in this game. Something you really don't see.
It's interesting, but it's the end of February. I mean, and for Boise State, being on the road, that's exhausting. That's tiring, not being able to sleep in your own bed.
Well, this is how their road trip went. So they left Boise, was able to come to Wyoming on last Wednesday. Then they played against Wyoming. Actually, that was last Friday, excuse me. Played against Wyoming on Saturday and then stayed overnight. From Saturday, they drove all the way down to Colorado Springs from Laramie as there's a steal. And quickly up court, here come the Boise State Broncos, Rice with it. But continuing on, as Agbo shoots the 3, and that's off the mark. And you see just the rebounding by the Boise State Broncos, but that was over the back. Amar Stanley picks up the foul. So that'll be his first personal. Also the team third on the Broncos. 1-0's our score. Falcons only have 1 field goal attempt in this game. They do have 3 turnovers, so something that they definitely have to clean up. I was talking a little bit about just how Boise State had a long, haven't been at home since last Friday. I said Wednesday, this was last Friday. Went to Laramie, played against Wyoming on Saturday, drove down from Colorado Springs on Sunday, and I've been there the whole time since then with 2 seconds on the clock, and that's going to be a foul on Degenhardt.
That was an awkward possession there by Petrides, who's able, he initiated the contact on the pump fake, and he was trying to sell it. Now, that will remain on the floor. He tried to sell it at the end with the shot. Not quite.
Well, how about this? We're not even 4 minutes to this game, and that's the 4th team foul on the Broncos, the first on Degenhardt. Petrides, 12 seconds on the clock. Boylan. 7 seconds. Brown has it in the corner. Now stops. Thought about the mid-range Jay. Gives up to Bo Becker for 3. That's off the mark. Another tough shot and a tough possession for the Falcons. Well, defensively they're doing well. Only down by 1, but not so on offense. And stepping out of bounds will be Max Rice. So a little bit of some sloppy play from both teams early on in this one, Rachel.
Yeah, and I mean, with Air Force, 3 turnovers. And that was just their 2nd field goal attempt at the rim. I mean, anytime you get a shot with Bo Becker on the perimeter, that's the type of shot you want to see. But the biggest glaring issue has been the turnovers for the Falcons. Got to be able to value that possession. And I mean, a bright spot I think the Falcons came out really trying to be the aggressors. They're trying to just really put their head down and be aggressive, see if they can get some Boise State players in some early foul trouble.
Well, Brown have to chase the rock. And nice defense there by Ogbo.
Yeah.
Tough guy to go up against it. By the way, that's the 4th turnover.
You know, Air Force is a team, as of late, they've done a really good job of taking care of the basketball. A couple games where they only had about 8. They only average about 12 per game. That's an area that they have been thriving in. But right now, 4 turnovers in 4 minutes, that is not the start you want to have.
Whiting recently checked in. Dagan Hart now with the rock. Trying to get it inside to Cam Martin, who also checked in. Skip pass, Dagan Hart, and we will have a foul away from the ball, and that will be on Air Force, and that will be their 3rd team foul. Tough start for both teams. 1-0 our score with 15:45 to go.
What's going on, Falcons fans? So excited that everyone is here and ready to fire and snow, and I think you guys have the best Falcon fan we have. What better than to report to doing the Celtics t-shirt top? So make some noise if you want a t-shirt.
Well, I promise you were playing basketball and not baseball, with the score being 1-0 with 15:45 to go in the first half. Let's take a look at the Mountain West standings, and you see why this game is so important for Boise State. They're at number 2, but tied for first place in the Mountain West standings with Utah State with a 10-4 conference record.
Yeah, and Utah State with the tiebreaker, so Boise State looking to try and win out here to pretty much clinch at least a share of first place. And you know, Air Force at this point, it's just about continuing to get better. And again, every team in the country right now is focused on trying to play their best basketball as they head into March. You know, you get to the conference tournament, it's a whole new season. So for the Falcons coming off that win against New Mexico, and that was the first time they had won there in, what was it, 13 years.
13 years,
so
13 tries.
You know, anything is possible. It's an interesting, looks like we've got a little bit of a review right now.
Could possibly be trying to review the last foul, I would imagine. Wonder if there was any contact to the head or neck area. But with that, I wanted to ask you, just Rachel, what both teams are struggling, obviously, on offense, starting this game. If you were the coach, what would you do just to kind of loosen things up for both teams?
Just do what you do. Don't make too big of a deal out of what's happened here the last, you know, 4 minutes. Just keep playing the way you play. I mean, get back to, you know, kind of what you do. You really don't want to draw a ton of attention to it. Shots are going to fall. We're going to start finding a little bit of a rhythm in this game. It has been a little bit choppy with the turnovers and the fouls, and so at some point I fully expect this will kind of loosen up and we'll see some real game play of kind of getting up and down. But yeah, it's been a little bit of a grind here these first 4 minutes or so.
Well, you're looking at the shot chart right now. Max Rice with 2 shots, both of them from downtown, missed them. And you also have Ogbo, who missed the 3-pointer as well. So now the referees will bring both head coaches together, or they'll actually put both teams on the floor now. So whatever was the issue, here comes one of the referees. This will be Eric Curry, who will come our way. Okay. All right, so the foul should be given to Byron Brown, not Ethan Taylor. That foul was around the 17th minute mark, so that was what was being checked on. We have everything straightened out, and here we go as Boise State with the rock up 1-0. Neither team has scored a field goal. Sometime that will happen, I promise you. Martin with it. Looking for Ogbo. Now stops his dribble. Beautiful pass to Ogbo. What a block!
What a pass. That was almost looked like he went bowling on that possession.
Well, how about bowling? Coming with the strike is Byron Brown from the weak side with the block. Nice job by that young man. See if that will go and spark the Falcons offense. Brown with the head fake, with the drive. And the lay-in, the first field goal of the day, comes with the young man who had the block on one end and the lay-in on the other end.
I love watching Byron Brown and just his confidence continuing. I mean, he's so explosive off the bounce, that quick first step, being able to find a seam and get his team on the board.
I'll tell you what, they're trying to get the ball inside, and Boise looking to do so on the drive by Whiting. Now stops under the basket. Ogbo spots him for three. Yes, sir.
Really good inside-out play there by the Broncos.
For Ogbo, that's the 64th triple of the year, puts the Broncos up 4-2. See, I told you we'll get a couple of field goals. See, look at there. Just took 4 minutes, you know. Sometimes you have to get a mulligan, right? 14:30 to go in the first half. Falcons looking for their first win at home in a long time. Ethan Taylor for three. That's no good. By the way, the last time the Falcons won at home, got to go before Thanksgiving.
November 22nd.
November 22nd, still in the ball away, looking for the outlet pass. Was Taylor. Decided against that, and now he'll give it up to Brown. Botrytis over to Taylor, back to Botrytis with the drive. The lay-in off the window. Doesn't get the roll.
Just the length there by Cam Martin coming over and just altering that shot. That was a really difficult shot. And Boise State, that is an unusual miss right around the rim.
Yeah, usually don't see Degenhardt miss that one. Almost a steal there by Brown. Now Whiting looking for some help. Gives it to Rice. Martin with it with 7 seconds. Degenhardt being guarded by Botrytis. Gives to Ogbo. Looks at the clock. 2 seconds, 1 second. Baseline. That's good.
Pretty little fadeaway. That's tough to guard. You can create that much separation. 15 feet around the rim.
Chibuzo Ogbo with 4 points. And that's how much the Boise State Broncos lead by 4 with 13:15 to go. Falcons, their only field goal by Byron Brown. That was on a layup. See if Brown could do this one. And yes, sir. Byron Brown with a three-pointer. Gets that triple to fall. It's now a 6-5 game. By the way, for Brown, that's only his 7th three-pointer of the year.
Well, he got that shot. He had all the time in the world, and that's what happens when you're intentional about setting screens. And through that entire possession, the Falcons did a really good job about getting a body on somebody. That's what happens when you set good screens.
Now a mismatch here. Degenhardt looking for a mouse in the house. Finds it to Ethan Taylor. Shoots it up and one.
And when he gets going,
oof,
and he starts backing you down,
money.
That's scary times.
It's money right there. By the way, the first personal foul on Ethan Taylor. And when you just look at the numbers, okay, Ethan Taylor is 6'5", a $195, going up against a young man who's 6'8", 235. That is the definition of mouse in the house.
And Byron Brown picked up his second foul, just kind of coming over, trying to almost double team down on the block, but got him right on the arm. So now, that's a bit of a blow for the Falcons. That's been their offense.
Literally
their only offense right now. Byron Brown with 5 points. A little bit of foul trouble here.
Well, that means other guys need to step up right now, too, at Byron Brown picking up his second foul. So let's see what Ethan Taylor can be able to do. Now coming into the game, Luke Kearney, a freshman from Phoenix, Arizona. This young man has been averaging 5 points in conference play, which is pretty good for a freshman. So let's see if the young man can grow up against one of the top teams in the conference. A beautiful pass, and there he is, Luke Kearney, the freshman with the lay-in.
Talking about some just spark. What a great pass there by Botrytis. Air Force does such a great job of just cutting, active cuts away from the basketball to the rim.
And almost a steal by Boylan. A drive, Whiting. That's just too easy.
Too easy. And again, that's what they're struggling with right now. Stopping those straight line drives. Great job by Boise State, really exploiting that.
Boise State now shooting 44%. The Falcons shooting 30, make that 42%. Down by 4. Kearney, the freshman, just recently checked in, hit a layup. The last time down. Falcons using the Princeton offense, trying to get that motion, just get a lot of guys moving around to get the opening. Petrides for three! He gets knocked down to the hardwood, wants the foul, but he'll just have to settle for the triple. Nice shot there by Reedus Petrides, his 19th three of the year.
Shooting 38% on the season. He's got to be aggressive. You've got to find ways to get Taylor, Petrides, Bo Becker going offensively.
And that foul will be on Ethan Taylor. He's pointing to his chest. He said, wait, was that on me? Yes, it was on you, young man. That'll be your first person to foul. Also be the 14th foul on the Air Force Falcons. Broncos up by a digit. Well, you see Byron Brown coming from the weak side with a nice block. And on the opposite end, the young man has been able to go to the rim, take it strong, and lay it in. And not only that, Byron Brown also is able to shoot it from deep, was able to knock down the three-pointer. He has 5 points, but currently he's sitting down in foul trouble. So he's leading the way with 5 points for the Falcons, but it will have to be other guys now that will have to step up. As you see, we have the band here. I think this is the first time that we have broadcasted that we've had the band here at Clune Arena. I think so.
They do such a great job.
They do fantastic, yes.
But yeah, Byron Brown, he was the instant offense for the Falcons when they needed it on the bench with 3 fouls. I think there was so many fouls early on those first few minutes, like we were just like a little bit confused.
And there was one that was on Ethan Taylor, and then
they switched it,
so that could have been the one that we could have lost. Broncos up by 1. Again, the Broncos have won the last 3 games by 28 points. Margin of victory from there. Has a beautiful pass, my goodness, from Stanley to Degenhart with the easy lay-in.
Now, the wild thing is they telegraphed that pass for a few seconds, and we're still able to get it inside. Again, just a little bit slow rotationally right now for the Air Force Falcons.
We'll also try to feed it to the freshman who wasn't able to go and hold on to that one, as Luke Kearney, as that one goes off his fingertips and out of bounds.
5 turnovers for Air Force. They're shooting the ball well. Both teams, 50%, but just been very choppy here in moments early on.
Taylor, Petrides on Degenhart. Degenhart with a little bit of a push. And now getting hit in the face is Petrides, no call. And Joe Scott is in the ear of one of the referees saying, hey, where's the whistle? 9 seconds on the clock, swinging around. Rice thought about the 3. May have to go and pull it with 4 seconds. 3 seconds, shoots it long. And that's too strong. And rebound. And a foul. And this one will be on the Falcons.
That is a tough call. Joe Scott not happy with that call. Bo Becker did a great job of kind of skying in there for it. As we take another look, ball comes high off the rim.
Wait, where's the foul?
Excessive blockout would maybe be the only thing I could potentially think of, but that is a very ticky-tack call in my opinion.
Well, it's the 16th foul on the Falcons. Still haven't seen officially who the foul was on. Get you to that in a moment. Sweet.
It was the blockout.
Yeah. So excessive blockout. I didn't realize that was a call
you don't see it a lot, in my opinion, at least in the men's game. But great job by the Falcons, again, just getting out of that possession and keeping it at 1 and done, looking to push here a little bit.
Oh, what a pass by Petritis. Oh, who couldn't get the kind roll is Boyland. Oh, man.
That would have been huge.
You have another foul away from the ball. This game has been called very close, and that will be the 7th team foul on the Falcons. And Joe Scott is in the ear of one of the referees. He's in the ear of Eric Curry. And I believe it's 1-1 as we take a look. And this foul is on Becker. Well, you can see his arm is wrapped around. That looked to be Stanley.
You know, part of this right now is Boise State plays such a physical brand of basketball, and being able to throw it inside with guys who are, they look a lot different than the Air Force team does in terms of their physicality, their strength, and their toughness. And you can tell, I mean, Air Force is battling. They know that this game is going to be won in the paint. And I think that's the reason we're seeing this game right now is Boise State plays such a tough brand of basketball, such a physical brand of basketball. Air Force doing all they can to try and match that right now.
Yeah, Boise State, they don't miss out on that extra meal, I'll put it that way. Nor do they miss out on the weight room, as both free throws were made by Omar Stanley, and Stanley now has 2 points in this one. Leading the way for Boise State is 6 points by Ogbo. He's currently out of the game. Falcons down by 5. I feel like this is an important possession here for the Falcons, as Taylor with the take. He gets bumped. That'll be a foul on Boise State. Foul be on R.J. Keene, the redshirt sophomore from the Woodlands, Texas. Coming back in as Keene, the second will come out. Back into the game will be Ogbo. Fresh shot clock, beautiful pass. Ethan Taylor with the reverse lay-in. Nice play there by Ethan Taylor. And it's great to see the young man be able to score. Had 11 points against New Mexico. First time around against Boise State, only had 8 points. Good to see him get on the board.
Averages 15 a game. At one point was leading the Falcons in scoring. That breaks a 2.5-minute scoring drought for the Falcons.
Kearney almost had to steal on Stanley. Stanley looking for some help now with the drive. And just gets the easy lay-in with the left hand.
That is tough.
My goodness.
I really don't know how you stop that. I mean,
yeah. Well, he had the positioning on the inside, and you would know very well, you being one of the greatest post players, understand just what to do once you get inside. It's barbecue chicken.
Pretty little reverse pivot. Again, straight live drives. That's been the area of this game, I think.
Kearney with it with 10 seconds on the clock. Petritis looking for some help. Now he'll go with the drive, stops, and that'll be travel. I think Petritis, if he would have just continued to go, he would have had to take the contact, but he would have had a chance to get the lay-in. If nothing else, the way that this game is being called, he probably would have went to the line to shoot.
No,
too.
I agree. There was contact. Had he been in an active shooting motion, I think he's going to the free throw line, but it was the stop and the pivot that just kind of got him in no man's land. Turnovers continue to pile up for Air Force.
6 turnover for the Falcons. And I wonder, Rachel, when you see the game, how it's been called so far, it's been a very physical game. The referee's trying to control that. Do you, as a player, look and say, hey, let me go and try to create some contact and try to get myself to the line?
I think so, absolutely. And I think that's got to be a strategy here for Air Force, trying to get a couple guys in foul trouble early on, but it is not really working here so far.
Well, Martin will go to the line, but a beautiful pass by the Falcons have them only down by 5. 17-12 our score. Boise State on top of the Air Force Falcons. Justin Adams and Rachel Gallagher with you. And when you talk about Boise State, they are really road warriors. Since the start of the 2021-22 season, Boise State is 16-9 in road Mountain West games, and that's the best record in the conference during that streak.
Well, I mean, I just think that speaks to just the culture that Coach Rice has really established here at Boise State. If you're going to be an NCAA tournament team, if you're going to be a conference champion, you've got to be able to win road games.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to go on the road, be road warriors. You've got to be tough. And I think that's what this team has. They've got a lot of veteran guys who've been there, who've done that. They're sitting at 5-3 on the road this season. But that's an impressive stat you just brought up.
Well, it's all thanks to Leon Rice and the work that he has done with Boise State. By the way, Cam Martin on the free throw line missed the first one, and the transfer from Kansas able to knock down the second one. 18-12 our score. Air Force hanging around in this game at home. Has made 4 of their last 5 field goals. Kearney coming in for Brown, who's dealing with foul trouble, has 3 fouls. So they'll be without Byron Brown for a while as Ritas Petrides, beautiful spin move and a lay-in. How about that from the young man? Oh, Ritas Petrides, the sophomore from Arlington, Texas, with the spin cycle in 2.
That's just a tough, heady play, understanding, having such court awareness, where your defender's at, being able to create a little separation. And Boise State continues to pound the ball inside, and that is going to be another foul.
Don't know much we could do if you're Ritas Petrides. That's his first, but let's look one more time at this beautiful move.
Yeah, just doing a great job with the little shot fake, getting the defender up in the air. It's all about creating separation. That's something Petrides does so well, him being aggressive off the dribble. We know he can shoot the ball, but in my opinion, his biggest strength is his ability to attack the rim.
Bo Becker would check out. By the way, Wesley Silahusky is now in. Number 51, you see him on the left side of your screen. That young man, 7 feet tall, as we take a look at a foul. And you can see there's not much that Petrides can do on that one. It's all about positioning, and once you get that close, it's really hard to be able to stop a guy like Omar Stanley, who was able to knock down his first free throw. And as cool as the breeze on the second one, a 73% free throw shooter, puts up the Broncos up 6.
7 minutes, 20 seconds to go. Boise State in the double bonus from here on out. Air Force yet to attempt a free throw in this game.
It's all about being physical, right? I mean, it's something that you have to do if you're Air Force. Boise State has 5 team fouls, so try to create some contact if you can. Taylor says, who needs contact? I'll just knock down my second triple of the day. 2017, Falcons down by 3. Taylor with 5.
Ethan Taylor, 26 in the nation at threes made per game, averaging just under 3. So good to see him get going a little bit offensively.
Just battling down there, Ritas Petrides and Omar Stanley. Now the opposite end, Martin will shoot that and gets it knocked away. Knocked away by the freshman Wesley Silahusky. Quickly up court, here come the Falcons. Beautiful pass, Kearney slams it home. It's a backdoor special as Wesley, or a beautiful pass of Ethan Taylor, gets it over to Luke Kearney. And the Broncos want to talk it over.
That's that Princeton offense. I mean, everybody knows if you're going to play this Air Force Falcon team, you've got to be able to defend the backdoor cut, and that's just great recognition. That pivot and plant and good hard cut to the rim. Had a couple of those so far here tonight. And remember, Air Force has missed a couple layups at the rim. This is a one-point game, a little bit of a run from the Falcons.
Well, that's the first time out that's taken by Boise State. And you know, one thing that I look at is obviously you take a look at Boise State and what they have done defensively. A very strong team defensively, but they have struggled with all those back cuts. What's one of the main reasons why you see that?
I mean, those are things you got to drill in practice. And I guarantee anybody who's, you know, scouts and watches Air Force, as you're preparing for Air Force, you're working on that type of action. Snapping your head and being able to pivot and turn, but also backside rotations. There was nobody on the backside there So just a big breakdown there for the Broncos, but Air Force shooting 62% in this game. The biggest difference right now, those 6 turnovers, those extra possessions, and how about that rejection at the rim?
Degenhart, don't bring that weak stuff to Air Force. A block there by Silahusky. The second block by the freshman. This young man's going to get more playing time. Scored 5 points against New Mexico, even hit a 3-pointer. So he has a little bit of range out there. In this type of game, Silahusky, he's going to be very important. Over to Petrides. Swinging through, baseline drive, and it'll be a foul on the floor. And that'll be on Andrew Meadow, the freshman from Santa Clarita, California. But one more look at a beautiful block, huh?
You know, it's funny, Air Force, and this is a great job, just coming in and making a play and being impactful, you know, right off the bench. That is a huge play. But Air Force, you know, they don't have the biggest team. They don't have the biggest amount of size in terms of the Mountain West, but they are top 75 in the nation in block shots. They average just under 4.5 per game. So that rim protection, huge. You talk about a 7-footer, that's only an added shot in the arm.
Well, how about this? The blocks that they have 2 so far, 106 this year. That's the 4th best all time in a single season in program history. Taylor with the crossover. Oh man, he went into his bag and didn't get what he wanted for Christmas. Quickly up court is Degenhart. And trying to feed the ball inside. That's what Boise State is trying to do. They're really a team that starts from the inside out. And Degenhart says, hey, we can run the Princeton offense too.
Well, and that's just a great job by Degenhart. I mean, you can't let a defender cut across your face through the lane line. You're dead in the water at that point. That was great recognition. Cuts to the rim. That was been a big story here this evening.
Well, this will be a foul on Boise State, and that's the 17th foul, so now it'll be 1-1. But let's take another look at that beautiful pass to Degenhart.
Well, and I think you got to give credit to Cam Martin. I mean, 6'9", but he leads the team in assists as a center. Close to 3 assists per game. His passing ability is arguably one of the best passing centers in the league.
Looks really good out there. By the way, Silahusky was at the line. Now 0 for 3 from the charity stripe this year. So the freshman is still waiting for his first made free throw as a college basketball player. 3-point game. Boise State 22, Air Force 19. Double team coming. Whiting with 5 seconds to drive up Petrides and gets the layup to fall. Looks like Petrides fell asleep just a little bit defensively. Gave up the layup.
Another straight line drive.
Anything you can do? Get some help from the weak side?
Yeah, I mean, the backside rotations.
Yeah.
I mean, just angles a lot of times. You know, just not allowing a guy to get a step ahead. And another great pass.
Oh, Silahusky. Young man had the rock and took a couple of steps in the painted area. That's a no-no. That'll be a turnover. That's the 7th turnover on Air Force. So you think about this. Air Force with 7 turnovers, only down by 5 to the top team in the Mountain West. By the way, Boise State, they average 73 points a game. So even though they're shooting 47%, still sluggish out there on the court. Just 8 made field goals in this game. Degenhart with the drive. Takes on the freshman. Nice defense there by Luke Kearney.
1 and done. I've been really impressed with Air Force. Outside of some of those straight line drives, defensively, they're doing a really good job. I think the biggest story of the game is it's those turnovers and just those empty possessions of just giving the ball away, not giving yourself a chance to have a shot at the rim. Air Force right now on a 2.5-minute scoring drought.
And Silahusky tried to get the rebound off the miss from Becker. Quickly up court, here's Rice. Can't leave him open. Oh, was able to go and get away with one there as Boylan with the rebound. And he'll take the ball quickly up court as Air Force shooting 53%. So you look at both teams, you would say, well, they have high field goal percentages, but the turnovers have been the story, especially for Air Force with 7 turnovers. Kearney for 3. Oh, that was halfway down and rolled right back out. Boise State quickly up court. Ogbo, King the second, gets it inside, and Martin misses the layup.
How about that?
Wow. There has to be something on that rim right there, a lid or something there.
What an you take that shot 50 times and he misses it 1 time. I mean, what a break there for the Falcons. But it's kind of been both ways. At the rim, it's been tough to finish right at the basket for, you know, both teams.
You just get the feeling that the crowd here at Clune Arena, they're just waiting for a three-pointer, just an exciting play to really go and explode. And this might be it right here, the lay-in. Wesley Silahusky, the freshman from Georgetown, Indiana, with the lay-in.
And I needed that bucket bad. Right now, it's about trying to close out these final 2 minutes. You got to continue to rely on your defense, get those stops. A lot of collision on the
opposite end. Akpo with the take. He won't get the shot to fall, but he will go to the line to shoot two, as that foul will be on Ethan Taylor. Having to be held back is Keelan Boylan. Everybody will try to cool off a little bit as we go to break. Boise State up 24-21 on the Air Force Falcons. Justin Adams and Rachel Galligan with you. And the Falcons only have shot one free throw in this game. When Boise State comes back on the court, they will shoot their 10th and 11th free throws so far.
And continuing to stay in that double bonus here. These next 2 minutes are so important for Air Force, because we were talking about it during the break. You get the sense right now Boise State has yet to find really that offensive rhythm. And I do think you have to credit Air Force. They're doing a really good job outside of some of those straight line drives. But if they can continue to get those stops here, but they've got to come down and convert on the offensive end. I mean, you know, what type of response are the Broncos going to have after halftime as they continue to just, you know, try and settle into this game? So a big 2 minutes here for Air Force.
Especially as Akpo continue to fill things up at the free throw line. And he now has 8 points. But Rachel, to your point, I mean, it just gets the feeling that this is the time where you say, hey, find a way how to get a lead.
You've got to take advantage. You've got to take advantage of them not playing exceptionally well right now.
At least make it a one-possession game. And we'll have a foul away, and that looks like it's going to be on Omar Stanley. And if it is, it will be his second personal foul. Also the 18th foul on the Broncos, so it'll be a 1-on-1 opportunity for the Falcons. So it is on Stanley, his second personal foul. So Omar Stanley will come out. And coming in for him will be Andrew Meadow, the freshman from California. So stepping to the line will be Rytis Petrides. And Petrides, a 61% free throw shooter. Second leading scorer from a year ago, and he misses that one. And Kearney tried to go over the back of Degenhardt to get the rebound. That's a dangerous play there by the freshman. Missed opportunity for Air Force to put some more points on the board. Need to continue to play well defensively. Boise State only shooting 40% from the floor. Meadow gets it to Degenhardt. Try to help out. This actually be a triple team, and it's going to be stolen away by Air Force.
And that was Chase Beasley coming over.
Quickly up court to Petrides for three. Yes, sir!
All right, back-to-back possessions. You got the big-time stop there with the trap. Chase Beasley coming over, being disruptive.
Rytis Petrides, his second triple of the evening. 2-point game at home. Boise State, Degenhardt with it. Going up against Chase Beasley, spins around and gets the lay in to go. Man, he's tough to play.
Up to 9 points for Degenhardt. Averaging 22 points here these last 6 games. He's really been playing his best basketball.
Petrides in the paint, spinning around. Doesn't get it to fall, but guess what? He'll shoot two. And that's the type of play I would like to see from Rytis Petrides. Yes, he can shoot threes, 2 for 2 today from downtown. But, man, take the rock and just put your head down and get to the line.
And he has. I mean, he has. I think, you know, it's physical. This is tough in the paint. He's taken some hits as he's been aggressive now. And his ability to kind of understand spacing and still get his shot off around traffic and around bigger defenders is elite. But, yeah, I mean, Air Force getting themselves to the free throw line. I mean, for the first 17 minutes of this half, had hardly gotten there.
Yep.
And that's a stat, you know, I mean, in conference whatsoever. But, you know, this point of the season, you win games. You beat the #1 team in the conference by being able to knock down your free throws. So that's a huge area we've got to make note of.
Back-to-back free throws made by Rytis Petrides. And if Boise State wanted to go 2 for 1, they can't. Doesn't look like they're going to do so as they give it to Degenhardt. So important possession here for the Falcons defensively. They'll double team Degenhardt immediately. He has nowhere to go. Kicks it around, Meadow for 3, and that's off the mark. Actually, that was Chase Whiting on the 3-point shot, and slowing things down will be the Falcons with a chance to tie things up or take the lead with a 3. Borland with it, hasn't scored yet today. Kearney for 3. That's just a little bit too strong with 6 seconds on the clock. Boise State trying to take advantage. Ogbo kills his dribble, gives it to Whiting in the corner for 3 at the horn. That's no good. Missed there by R.J. King. And the Boise State Broncos will go to the break up by 2, 28-26. Broncos shooting 39%. The Falcons shooting 52%. Air Force looking to pull off another upset, this time at home. Air Force putting up a fight against the Boise State Broncos as Boise State only leads 28-26 at halftime. Justin Adams and Rachel Gallagher with you. And this was a very interesting first half, to say the least. The first 4 minutes, there was only one score. Yes, it was 1-0. Then after that, things finally start to pick up.
They did, but there was a lot of fouls called and a lot of turnovers, especially on Air Force's front at times. So it was definitely a little bit choppy. And I think if you're the Air Force Falcons, you're in the locker room right now and you're holding a Boise State team who averages in the last 6 games 88 points. You held them to 28, so you got to be really happy with the defensive effort that they put forth those first 20 minutes.
And one of the guys who was helping out defensively was Byron Brown. Did a fantastic job with 5 points before he had to sit because of foul trouble.
Well, and he just really came in and was that spark. He did a really great job of attacking the basket. He knocked down a 3. We saw that block at the rim. But yeah, a little bit of foul trouble there for Byron Brown. On the other end, the story has been Tyson Degenhardt. I mean, again, we talk about this is a Player of the Year candidate. So he's up to 9 points, but still every point that he earned, he had to work for. You know, just doing a great job of just really slipping to the rim and being aggressive, attacking the paint. That's kind of been what Boise State's game plan was, attack the basket. And then on the other end, I mean, for Air Force Falcons, Petritis, he leads all scorers with 10 points. He was knocking down perimeter shots. He's been able to be aggressive off the dribble, finishing around the rim, creating just enough separation, got himself to the free throw line a little bit. So Petritis doing a really good job, you know, just keeping Air Force in this offensively.
Yeah, doing a fantastic job. Like you were saying earlier, Regis Petritis continuing his scoring ways, had 15 points against New Mexico, now leading away with 10. Let's take a look at his first half statistics. And one thing that really stands out to me is the 3-point. Now, right there it says 9 of 23 from the 3-point stripe. It's actually 1 of 8 for Boise State, and that's one thing that they have to improve on if they want to go and walk away here with a W.
Yeah, and for me, the rebounding, the fact that Air Force is keeping this even, and they're keeping the Boise State Broncos off the offensive glass, that is huge. But you look at how well Air Force is shooting the basketball, shooting at 53%, but it's those turnovers, those extra possessions that they've just given up, you know, has not allowed them to stretch this lead out or even have a lead right now.
All right, so let's take a look at the second half for both teams. Let's start with Air Force. Down by 2, you were able to hold a very explosive offense in Boise State to only 28 points. What would you like to see from the offense, for the Falcons in the second half in order to win this one?
I think they've done a really good job on their trapping defense, especially on Degenhardt. They've done a really good job of just keeping him frustrated and forcing him to kind of pass out of that action. They've got to continue to do a job on the glass. If that starts getting stretched out by Boise State, this is going to get out of control quickly. And for Boise State, you know, they've got to settle in. I don't think they were the aggressors in that half. I think you could honestly make an argument that Air Force really mucked it up and made it difficult, and so I would guarantee you they're being challenged right now to respond.
Sets up for a fun second half, doesn't it?
It does.
That's exactly what we're going to see once we come back to Clune Arena. 28-26 is our score. Getting ready to start the second half here at Clune Arena with the Falcons down by 2. But when you look at Boise State, it's not just Tyson Degenhardt, also Chibuzo Ogbo, the transfer from Texas Tech. He's doing a pretty good job out there with 8 points.
Well, just his physicality and his strength and his ability to, you know, not just stretch the floor, but attack the rim and back you down. Pretty little fadeaway there. Boise State only 1 3 on this game. That was coming from Agbo. This is a team that averages just over 8 threes per game. So something to kind of pay attention here the second half. If that 3-ball starts falling, you're looking at long, this thing could get out of control.
Yeah. And that's the reason why you want to go and keep this game as muck and mire as much as you can, with Boise State shooting only 39%. If you're Boise State, what do you think the conversation was from their head coach, Leon Rice?
Probably just challenging, them to, face this adversity in a game that has been choppy. There's been a lot of stoppage of play. You haven't been able to really find much of a rhythm offensively. But, I mean, they knew that coming in here. Air Force, at times have struggled defensively, but really this is a team that wants to hang their hat on what they do defensively. And, I would say just challenging them to be the aggressor. And that's a great start right there. I mean, those straight line drives to the rim right out of the gate. Hardly took any time off the clock.
How about this for Anderson? That's his first 2 points of the game. We're talking about a young man that, yes, he averages 5 points a game, but he's able to fill it up very easily. Byron Brown is back in, tried a backdoor pass, goes off the feet, actually, of Stanley. Quickly up court, here comes Boise State. Got to be careful here, almost stolen away by Boylan. Anderson with a nice pass to Stanley, lays it in.
That's a quick 4-0 run, 4-0 run. First 40 seconds of the game, not the start you want to have.
Well, I would imagine if you're Joe Scott, depending on what happens in this possession, you may have to go and burn the timeout just to be able to settle things down.
Well, and I'm just seeing Boise State ramping it up defensively and just really wanting to get out and push the pace, push the tempo.
Not a lot of movement from Air Force, but 8 seconds on the clock. Taylor backing his way down on Anderson. Now in the paint, double team, somehow muscles it home.
He was able to hang on to the possession of the ball. Just staying patient. Ethan Taylor up to 7 points in this game.
Also 1 of 4 from downtown. Really important for that young man to be able to be a scorer in this one. And going back inside will be Boise State as that ball is knocked away and out of bounds off the Broncos.
And that's a great job. Air Force talking about backside rotations at halftime. They know Boise State wants to pound the ball inside and exploit some mismatches. That's a great job there by Boylan being there on the catch.
We'll talk about a team in Boise State that scored 92 points against Wyoming at Wyoming. They're currently struggling. Really good defensively by Air Force. Falcons looking to get their 3rd conference win of the year, their first home conference win. Spinning around Brown. He spins again. Oh, the spin cycle. Yes, sir, for number 11. Give him 7 points on the board.
Byron Brown continues to impact this game. How about that patience down there on the block?
Just when you thought that Boise State might be pulling away early on in this half, Falcons battling it back. And that's going to be a foul. And if that's on Brown, that'll be number 4.
Yep, that's his 4th foul. Great recognition there by Boise State. I mean, taking this action, you see Boylan come over trying to, a little bit of a soft double team there. It's a great job by Degenhart, just understanding who's in foul trouble, who's been causing us fits a little bit. It has been Byron Brown, and he's been on the floor.
Degenhart with the first toss. That is good. And by the way, when you look at Tyson Degenhart, this young man scored a career-high 29 points the first time around, going up against the Falcons in that win on February 2nd. So the Falcons really made it a point to be able to focus in on him and limit his scoring so far. He does have 11 points. As the score is 34-30. Still early on in the second half. Bo Becker, haven't heard a lot from him yet today. It's Petrides with the drive, double team, slips. That'll be a foul on the floor. By the way, speaking of Becker, he has only attempted 1 shot in this game, Rachel.
Yeah, there was that deep 3 from the perimeter. Got to find a way to get him going. Both him and Ritas Petrides averaged both 15 points, leading the Falcons in scoring.
Well, it's interesting when we have talked to Bo Becker. He's one of those types who said, look, it doesn't take too long for me to heat up. I just need to see one go in. Well, in order for you to see one go in, you actually have to release the ball.
Well, I mean, and I really think when Bo Becker's playing well, this team has success.
Yes.
He's got to be impactful offensively with his ability to stretch the floor, but he's not limited to that. That's what he does so well, but he's got to be able to get some points up, get him going a little bit here.
8 seconds on the clock. Taylor swinging it to Petrides. May have to force things up. Back to Ethan Taylor. Steps back, feet on the line, and that's way short.
Tough shot. Great defense there by Boise State.
Anderson, the second, misses the handle, and it will be stolen away by the Falcons. Nice job defensively there by Air Force. Yet another steal by them. That is their third steal. And up court, that's going to be stolen away by Boise State. So back and forth we go. Sloppy play by both teams. Anderson to Martin, a transfer from Kansas. Rice for three. Now 0 for 5 from downtown. Martin gets the rebound, chucks it up high, and that will go out of play. So it kind of reminds me of the first 4 minutes of this game.
They're very similar. It's, you know, you're able to force a turnover, and neither team capitalizing on the possession right now, just kind of handing it back and forth. It's about that composure. Still just a 2-possession game.
Yep, Roddy Anderson III will come out of the game now, and coming in for him will be Jace Whiting. 34-30 is our score. Air Force shooting 66%. Check that, they're shooting 54% overall. Becker, baseline, a mid-range J, that's no good. It's the one off the elbow. 0 for 2 so far for Bo Becker. Been leading the Falcons in scoring in conference play. Agbo. Rice being guarded by the freshman. 6-year senior gives it up. Being patient on offense is Boise State. Martin with it. Backs his way down. He'll take it up and can't get that one to fall, but guess who's there to clean up the mess? Tyson Degenhart. He gets 13 points now. 6-point advantage for the Broncos.
That's just the 4th second chance point by Boise State. Talk about those rebounding numbers. Air Force only giving up 2 offensive rebounds. That is a massive number. Boise State is dominant on the glass. They are out-rebounding opponents by a margin of about 8 per game. So the fact that that has been close is so key to the Falcons keeping this close.
And a foul on Boise State. That will be their second team foul. But the Broncos up by 6. Enjoying himself at Clune Arena as the Broncos are up 36-30 over the Air Force Falcons. Justin Adams and Rachel Gallagher with you. And so far it's been tough going for the Falcons in the second half. They were able to get a couple of shots, but not as fluid as on offense as they would like to be.
I mean, they're shooting the ball really well. I mean, 52% on the game, 40% from the 3-point line. It doesn't feel like that in moments, you know.
Right.
I'm looking at my stat monitor. I'm like, okay, but you know, the way this game's being played collectively and how choppy this is works in Air Force's favor,
yes,
in my opinion. And I think that the pace of the game has been able to be controlled. And the fact that they're able to keep this, again, still just a 2-possession game. The question is going to be, you know, does Air Force have a little run in them? And a consistent run. I'm talking 7-0, 8-0 run, not just a 4-0 run. I mean, points have just felt like they've been at a premium at times, really, for both teams. I mean, look at the score. But Bo Becker, a huge key in that. He's got to continue to hunt his spots.
Petritus wide open. Not today. Rebound down to Rice.
It's a great-looking shot.
Well, you speak about Bo Becker, no points. He leads the scoring for the Falcons. So you got to get him going.
Air Force, 3-minute scoring drought. But their defense keeping a minute, keeping it close enough right now.
Whitey knocks that one home.
Yeah, be careful when those start falling. Just the second 3 of the game.
Well, Whitey now has 7 points. Oh, by the way, the young man, that's his 15th 3 of the year.
This is a guy who shoots 55% from the 3-point line. That is a ridiculous number.
Well, I'm looking at Becker, and he has the ball several times. Not really looking at the rim as Boiler with the take. And that'll be a foul on the floor. But, you know, that's one of the things that you would like to see. If you're not able to go and make shots from distance, well, how about you go and take it in? As pick up the foul will be on Cam Martin. It's also the 3rd team foul. Actually, they're going to call that on Max Rice. That's his 2nd personal. 39-30 our score. Use possession here for the Falcons, and Petritus gets that one knocked away by Degenhart. Quickly up court, Boise State. Whiting just hit a 3 a couple moments ago. Martin skip pass, wide open. Rice, not the guy you want to shoot it, because that's exactly what happens. 3-point bucket in for Boise State. They are now on a 10-0 run over the Air Force Falcons, and they lead by double digits.
Yeah, we had said as soon as the 3-ball starts falling, look out. Things can get out of hand here as Air Force turns the ball over once again. Their 10th turnover of the game. Right now, Boise State on a 10-0 run.
And Degenhart lets it fly. Petridis quickly up court to Ethan Taylor. Well, if you're the Falcons, you've been able to do a lot of great things defensively. It's now time to get your offense rolling. Becker's the guy who has to get himself going. Petridis leading the way, crossover, stops, spins around. Nice job by Cam Martin to stay right on him. Taylor for long three. That rolls in and out.
Now, I don't like that shot because it's not a rhythm shot. Now, I know it's Ethan Taylor, and he can knock down those types of, long-range shots, but would love to have seen that in a little bit of rhythm.
So taking the timeout will be Boise State, as Leon Rice wants to go and just make sure that his team is on track. They're on a 10-0 run over the last 4 minutes and 25 seconds. They're looking good so far. Starting to knock down three-pointers. Rice with the triple. Boise State has been on a 10-0 run for the last 4.5 minutes, and starting away has been Tyson Degenhart.
Well, I mean, right now, Boise State 5 of 8 this half, and they've finally gotten the 3-ball to start falling here a little bit. And that's scary times for the Air Force Falcons, doing a great job of, just moving the basketball, getting open perimeter shots. Boise State on a 10-0 run, and on the other end, Air Force on a 5-minute scoring drought. They're 0 of their last 5, so that combination here, these last 5-6 minutes, is why the game has stretched out to what it is. Boise State lead.
Anderson, a third, back into the game, and it's just something for Air Force where it starts defensively, and then you got to make things work offensively. You can't let guys like Max Rice wide open, and getting the offensive rebound is Boise. Martin misses the first one, and able to go clean up the mess for the second one. A 12-0 one for the Broncos.
Yeah, 4 second chance opportunities here just in the second half early on for the Broncos. That was an area Air Force kept even in the first half. Right now starting to insert their will a little bit on the offensive glass.
So Husky back in the game, the 7-foot freshman. He'll get the rock. Backing his way down, gives it to Petridis. Maybe Petridis shoots to midi. Stepping back, looking like he wants to pull a 3. Gives it back to the freshman, Husky. 2 seconds, 1 second. Petridis misses that triple. Another empty possession for the Falcons. By the way, in the second half, Air Force with only 4 points. Almost halfway home in the second half, and that's blocked away. Renus Petridis from the weak side. Quickly up court to Ethan Taylor. Euro step. And won't get the shot to fall, but will go to the line to shoot 2.
An emphatic block there by Petridis. I think he let out a little bit of frustration there on the backside. Just a great job coming over, making a play on the basketball. That is the 4th block of the game for the Falcons. Right now, getting to the free throw line feels like a sigh of relief. Air Force on a 6-minute scoring drought, trying to find a way to snap this 12-0 Boise State run.
Can't do it there.
To get that one to go. That is tough.
Well, it's really surprising. Ethan Taylor, an 81% free throw shooter. By the way, in the game, the Falcons, 50% from the free throw line. So that one is good. So the second one falls. Makes this a 44-31 game. By the way, the Falcons, 3 of 6 from the charity stripe. Stanley, beautiful pass to Rice. Petritis right there defensively. On the chase. And almost stole it away. Kearney almost had it in the corner. Stepping back, shooting the 3, blocked away! And scoring to be off the body of who? One of the Falcon players. And one of the referees, will they say it's going the opposite way? No, they're not. They're saying we will go to break. Falcons continuing to fight, have only scored 5 points in the second half. Need some more to beat Boise State. Broncos on a 12-1 run over the last 6 minutes. They have extended their lead to 13, 44-31, with 11:49 to go. Air Force has only scored 5 points so far in the second half. Rachel, what has Boise State done defensively to make it so tough for the Falcons to be able to score?
Air Force, in my opinion, it looks a little bit tired, and I think Boise State's doing a really, really good job of just kind of using their length, clogging up the paint. And right now, it's the rebounding numbers. They're starting to really separate themselves. This was even at halftime, both teams, about 14 rebounds apiece. Right now, Boise State out-rebounding Air Force 22-15. Those second chance points starting to pile up a little bit.
And that'll be a shot clock violation, or will it be a foul?
They're going to call a foul, and Joe Scott is livid with that call, not happy.
Well, Joe Scott is saying shot clock first, and he's pointing to the monitor. And he's saying, hey, it's shot clock first. But let's see, it's a loose ball. I don't think that was a foul. I think it was all ball. So when was the foul called is the question.
This is going to be another review in a game that has felt like in moments very stagnant, a lot of lulls, and it looks like that call is going to stay.
So
continuing to discuss.
Well, if it stays, will be a foul on the Falcons. It'll be a tough one with 1 second on the clock. I don't know if it was even one. Might be 1/10 of a second.
That's a tough break. And that's an interesting call, in my opinion.
So the foul will be on Boylan. That's his first. Will also be the team's second. Fresh shot clock at 20. Falcons only with 5 points. Trying to keep themselves in this one. Coming off of a win against New Mexico. Getting their second conference win of the year. Boise State on a 3-game winning streak. Looking to continue their winning ways on the road. Stanley with a beautiful hook shot. Omar Stanley now with 10 points. Second player in double figures for the Broncos.
And that's what I'm talking about, going from a good shot to a great shot. Just staying intentional, working the ball around the perimeter, looking to break down the offense. And right now, Air Force continuing. Have not scored a field goal in 7 minutes in this game.
Well, this could get ugly. Degenhart, double team. That'll be a foul. It looks like it'll be a foul on Boylan. That would send Degenhart to the line.
Air Force fouls, number 23, Kellen Boylan, that's his second.
Air Force has been really throwing that double team on Degenhart down low. You've got to be able to come over and wall up, not bail anybody out.
Well, there's somebody who is a fan that is upset. Apparently, that fan being upset distracted Degenhart enough, so he missed the first free throw.
Got a bunch of laughs. I wasn't able to hear what she was saying, but I know just a few laughs here in the arena from there. I think some frustrations piling up.
We got some kids around. I don't think they want to hear what was said.
Piling up for what, the frustrations with just the refereeing and the way this game has been officiated. I can't say, really, for both teams, it's been difficult. And Joe Scott was just teed up. He's been working, or he was kind of working for that one a little bit. Definitely frustrated after that last call, that foul on Degenhart. He has been very mouthy and frustrated. And so right now,
we've already seen Joe Scott ejected once this year. He'll go back to his seat. So taking 2 shots will be Degenhart, and Degenhart has 14 points. Looking to add to that total. But you see the frustration is bubbling over for Coach Scott as he's going to send in Byron Brown. So you have a fan in the stands that's screaming loud. You have Coach Scott that's screaming. The only thing that's really loud right now is the scoreboard as Degenhart's able to go and knock down full free throws, and the Broncos up by 18 points, outscoring Air Force 21-5 in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, this has just been really tough. I mean, 17-1 run over the last 7 minutes. And right now, there's 11 minutes left in this game. You know, Air Force, it's about being able to kind of shake off some of these frustrations and just staying disciplined, continuing to just be methodical in what you do, be disciplined defensively, trust your offense, trust that the ball can eventually fall.
And also go and get those offensive rebounds. Nice job there by Petrides, see if it can equal to some points on the board. As Taylor will step back. Falcons down by 18. Need a score in the worst way. Falcons haven't made a field goal in the last 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Taylor with the drive. And if this was the NBA, that would be an and one. But this is college basketball, and that would just be a foul on the floor. That would be the second personal foul on Degenhart. On the take from Ethan Taylor. Will also be the 5th team foul on Boise State, so keep that in mind. One of the quickest ways to get back into a game is to score when the clock's not moving. Petrides, Taylor, looking for an opening, can't find it. Here comes Brown, gives up to Silahusky, the 7-footer with the lay-in. That stops the almost 8-minute drought of not making a field goal, and the Falcons are finally able to get one to fall. Makes it 49-33, and the Falcons will take a timeout. Start off with a nice drive from Brown, gives it up to Silahusky, and the freshman from Indiana knows what to do from there.
Yeah, so right now, I mean, hard to believe there's still plenty of time left in this game. I mean, this has been an absolute grind these first 10 minutes of this second half as we've watched Boise State really stretch this thing out. Right now, outscoring Air Force 21-7, but you know, right now, if I'm head coach Joe Scott, it's about the toughness and the resiliency that I'm seeing from my squad. Are we going to allow these frustrations and the way this game is being officiated and the fact that I just got teed up and, you know, things like that to really disrupt, you know, the things that we want to do? I think their game plan in the first half was to be the aggressor, was to do a good job on the glass, get back to kind of those winning habits that they had done in the first half, and not allow themselves to kind of have a mirror of these last 10 minutes.
And also find a hot shooter. Bo Becker on the bench right now with a goose egg. No points. That's your leading scorer right now. Regis Petrides, the only guy in double figures with 10 points. He hasn't scored yet in the second half. So who is it going to be? Who will be the player for the Falcons to be able to get them right back in this game with 9 minutes to go?
That's a tough shot.
Well, it doesn't matter when you shoot the ball like that, right? What a triple by Chibuzo Agbo, the transfer from Texas Tech.
I mean, in the contest on that shot, but his ability just to elevate over defenders, that was fun to watch.
52-33, a foul away from the ball. That will now be the 16th foul on Boise State. So the foul on Roddy Anderson. And for Anderson, that'll be his 3rd personal foul. 9:36 remaining. This game was 28-26 at halftime. Ever since then, it's been all Boise State on a 24-7 run. Petrides over to Brown. Kearney wants the rock, not going to get it there. As Taylor hesitates. Looking for some help, gets it there to Petrides. Oh, buddy, what a pass.
Well, that's just, I think sometimes the ball has been really sticking a little bit offensively for Air Force, but being able to kind of attack the basket, draw the defense, make the defense collapse, have a hard cut away from the ball, more of that type of action.
Stanley. Not a lot of points so far. Stanley has 10, looking for 12, won't get it, but gets his own rebound. Oh, man, and one.
I mean, that's just a grown man play.
Oh.
That's just absolutely Omar Stanley bullying his way to the rim, inserting his will, just sticking with it. I'll take that.
The transfer from St. John's, 6'8", 240 from Overland Park, Kansas. My goodness. Was able to go and rip the ball away, get the shot to fall, and the and one opportunity. Looking to put the Broncos up by 20, and he does just that.
I mean, he's just a matchup nightmare for Air Force. They don't have anybody on this team who can go toe-to-toe with him defensively, in my opinion.
Brown with it, looking for some help, gives it to Petrides. Petrides with 12 points. Now the shot up, no good. Petrides with the rebound and lay in.
Okay.
So off the miss from Kearney, Petrides able to fly in to get the O board and also get the putback. Move it around in the corner. Don't want to leave that guy open because that's exactly what happens. Chibuzo Ogbo. If you don't know his name, you do now. The young man now with another three-pointer. He has 14.
Well, that's just great composure there by Boise State. Air Force starting to put up, a little bit of quarter-court pressure. And that, when you take care of the basketball and you move the basketball the way you want, you can get open shots. And now an opportunity for the Falcons as Petrides is fouled on the three-point attempt. But I will say, I got to say, you have to credit Boise State.
Yes.
Their defense, has been absolutely suffocating here this second half. They are making Air Force, really the entire game, they have made Air Force earn every bucket that they've gotten.
As Petrides able to knock down the first free throw. How about this in the second half? Boise State, they were 1 of 8 from the three-point line. In the second half, 4 of 8.
Yeah, that's the biggest difference. We knew, the way this team can shoot the basketball and the way they really rely on their ability, to be able to knock down perimeter shots, they were going to fall eventually. And I guarantee you that's what Leon Rice was telling his squad at halftime. Like, we're getting the looks, we're getting the shots. Just continue to trust the process. We're going to see the ball go through the net.
Petrides knocks down all 3 free throws. 18-point advantage for Boise State. Anderson the third with the take. And Ethan Taylor not happy about that at all. And he'll be teed up.
Yeah, some choice words there from Ethan Taylor. We're going to have another technical.
Well, you can't say those magic words because if you do, we'll be a tech. But right now, Boise State is saying we're making threes. Boise State up by 18 over the Air Force Falcons on a 30-14 run in the second half. It's been very difficult for Air Force in the second half. By the way, getting teed up was Ethan Taylor, as the Falcons have only hit 5 field goals.
And Ethan Taylor will have to take a seat.
Wow. Now it's 5. I believe Ethan Taylor's done for the day then.
He's going to have to take a seat.
Wow.
And right now it's about those frustrations really starting to pile up. The fans are frustrated. Air Force is frustrated. But, this is what one of the top teams in the conference can do to you, and I can say I'm looking at this team, this Boise State team, they're keeping their composure, and this has not been the easiest game. Not a lot of flow. It has been challenging, but right now the question is, can Air Force just continue to just fight, show resilience, show toughness? You got to be able to see some progression. This is a young Air Force team for the first time in 36 years, there are no seniors on this Falcon team. So it's a young team going against one of the top teams in the conference. So a lot of teaching moments, a lot of, you know, experience that can be learned through these moments right now.
At the line is Anderson the third, and just like you're talking about, this is another opportunity for these guys to be able to grow. But it's very tough, especially in a game like this. It was tight at half. You would imagine that Boise State was going to go on some sort of run. But that run has been plus 19 in the second half on the scoreboard. Petrides trying to bring the Falcons back, not able to do so there. It's also been just tough shots like that one that have been put up. You also haven't had any points by Bo Becker.
Well, Air Force 0 for 6 from the 0 for 7 from the three-point line here this second half, and that was really what kind of kept him in it the first half.
And Petrides tried to grab the ball. I don't know why that wasn't a foul. It should have been a foul on Martin grabbing Petrides. But no call. With 7:21 remaining, ball will remain with Boise State.
At one point, Air Force was shooting 43% from the three-point line and have just completely gone cold from deep.
It looks like something that, I mean, defensively, Boise State has made it deep. Hasn't been a lot of shots that you would say in flow, right, in rhythm. Anderson the third with the take and able to get that to go over the 7-footer.
You know, and when you're not seeing shots fall, just by nature, it wears on you defensively. The same effort that you're putting forth on the defensive end of the floor, those straight line drives, those backside rotations, and right now you're seeing Boise State really, you know, find those soft spots, and that's a nice little pretty shot there. That breaks a 6-0 run for Boise State.
Husky with the lay-in. He now has 6. And a three-point shot on the other end. It's nothing but net. Guess who? Oh my goodness, Chibuzo Ogbo.
Up to 17 points right now.
That young man is ready for tournament play right now.
He's tough. I mean, he is. I am so impressed.
When you look at this team, Boise State, you ask yourself, okay, what can this team do? And, you know, talking to you a little bit before the game, I came away from the game that they had against Wyoming as Brown, knocked away, blocked away by Chibuzo Ogbo. Oh, Ogbo now with the rock. Thought about the three.
I mean, just making plays.
Oh, man.
Just coming out, I mean, knocking down big shots and making big plays at the rim. That's what this time of year's about. It's about making plays.
Pass inside, Degenhardt. The take and one, and he flexes on them. Degenhardt now with 20. And the foul will be on Kellen Boylan. And there's absolutely nothing number 23 in white can do on that one.
Yeah, that felt like a dagger. You can see kind of the wind being taken out of Air Force's sails.
Well, now Boise State up by 28 points. And that number is important because that's the margin of victory that Boise State has enjoyed.
Yeah, you were talking
on
about
average
that.
For the last 3 games. As Boylan with the take, and the foul will be on R.J. Keene. But Boise State has won the last 3 games by average margin of 28 points. They beat Fresno State 90-66. They also were able to take care of San Jose State 82-50 and Wyoming 92-72.
Right now, it's just it's wild. You know, we talked about it at halftime, how impressed we were that Air Force held Boise State to just 28 points. That is 60 points below what they've been averaging these last 6 games. Right now, Boise State outscoring the Falcons 42-16. I mean, they've just been dominant here the second half in every way.
Anderson with the rock on the miss, and he'll hesitate, shoots it up, looking for the call, doesn't get it.
I'm surprised there wasn't a call. A lot of contact on that play. We've had a lot of foul calls in this game.
Up by 27 is Boise State, and almost a turnover.
35 fouls called in this game.
Wow. It's not a lot of flow.
No.
And it started early in this one. Kind of realized, hey, this is the type of game it would be, and early on it looked good. Nice mid-range Jay, and missing that one long. It's Kearney. But just not a lot of flow early on in this one, and worked out to a 28-26 game at half, and then since then it's been all Boise State outscoring Air Force 42-17 in the second half. Martin spinning, taking his time, shoots it up, doesn't get that one to fall. Well, you look at Boise State, and we talked about this team. This is a team that looks like they will be in the NCAA tournament. And talked a little bit about them. I believe this is a team that can get to the Sweet 16. Obviously, we saw the success of San Diego State last year, getting to the Natty. But it's not out the reach for a team like Boise State to be able to do so.
Well, I mean, this was a team coming off a 24-win season last year, trip to the NCAA tournament the last 2 years. This is the culture that they've built. That's the standard that Leon Rice has for his program up in Boise, and I can guarantee you this team looks hungry to me. Yep. They look experienced to me. They look poised to me. They look tough. They have a lot of those, you know, must-haves for tournament teams who can make deep runs.
And they're also battle-tested. Their last 3 games will be important, as at the line is Anderson III, with the foul being on Petritis, which is his 2nd personal foul. But when you look at the Broncos' last 3 games, you're at home against New Mexico, at home against Nevada, and then a big one on March 8th. You can circle that one on your calendar, at San Diego State. So if you're talking about you wanted to see where you are right before you go to conference tournament play, that game at the end is going to loom large.
For Air Force, they will go on the road after this at Utah State, then up to Wyoming, and then they will close out the regular season here at home in a tough one against Colorado State. So it's kind of how this final little swing here, regular season, will close out for both of these teams. Boise State very much in contention to at least have a share of that first place in the Mountain West.
We saw Utah State earlier this year as they're led by Grade Osobor. And you talk about a player that could possibly be the Mountain West Player of the Year. That's one right there in Osobor. Utah State already beat Boise State this year in overtime. As Petritis able to rip down that rebound. When you look at Air Force again, they don't have any seniors. It's poked away, 2-on-1 opportunity. Martin thought about going with the alley-oop or doing something with the ball. And it goes right to Ritas Petritis.
Right now, it's about just kind of settling in. I mean, this is about experience as Petritis continues to be aggressive off the dribble. But, you know, look at some of the guys who are on the court right now. Bo Becker, Ethan Taylor, again, fouled out of the game. Just experience for some young guys in a game like this.
Well, one player that you don't see is Bo Becker. He has 0 points as the Broncos are on their way to their 20th win of the year. Winding things down here at Clune Arena, where the Boise State Broncos are 307 away from their 20th win of the year and improving to 11-4 in conference play. Just a tough day for the Air Force Falcons, specifically in the second half. The score was 28-26 at halftime. Since then, it's been all Boise State. Boise State has scored 44 points. Air Force only 17. And oh, by the way, the Falcons have only made 6 field goals, 31% from the floor in the second half.
Boise State got hot from the perimeter. They started knocking down 3-point shots, 5 of 9, close to 60% here in the second half, shooting 54%. Air Force just ice cold, 0 for 7 from the 3-point line. And that really, I mean, that's something that Air Force, they've got to do. I mean, that's a huge area of their offense. They're one of the top 3-point shooting teams in the Mountain West. But, you know, to go that ice cold here, it's been a big storyline. And then to have Bo Becker, you know, not really be a factor in terms of his ability to contribute. And I think you have to credit Boise State. I think they came into this game and said, we're going to take him out, and we're going to try and force this team to have other guys beat us.
Well, Bo Becker has only played 21 minutes of this game. Has only attempted 2 shots also. And so, just as you said, being taken out of the game, didn't really assert himself too much as Petritis is still out there battling as he knocks that one out of bounds. And Bo Becker's one of those players that can, like we say, can fill it up. He has scored 31 points for a season high this year. But there are several times this year where he has scored 6 points. He scored 2 points against Utah State. Well, he also scored 3 points against Wyoming, but he hasn't been shut out this year.
Well, he really didn't have clean looks at the rim. Only 2 shot attempts in this game. I mean, that's got to be a season low there as Boise State continues to just pound the ball inside. That's Stanley up to 15 points.
So you have Omar Stanley in the game. Degenhart will leave for the night. He'll check out with 21 points and 5 rebounds. As Air Force will go on the road for 2 before they return back home to take on Colorado State. We'll be here for that one. Be a 2 o'clock start. That'll be on March 9th. Be the final home game of the year. 4 seconds, 3 seconds on the clock. 2, 1, shooting it up. And nothing but net is Boylan. Where was that early on, young man? And he got a little bit of a smirk on his face right there. Look at Kellen Boylan.
The first 3 to fall for the Air Force Falcons here in the second half. And yeah, a little bit of a smirk on his face.
Well, Boylan got to know that we're his good luck charm. When we're here, you hit threes. Boylan now with 4. 74-48 is the score. And if you're wondering, this is not the fewest points Air Force has scored this year. Scored 43 against UNLV earlier this season. The take is no good. Rebound, though. Kicking it out for 3. Kobe Young knocks it home. So Kobe Young with the 3. We're talking about a guy who has only scored 10 points this season. He's now scored 13. I think he has a cut on his hand, so he'll have to come out the ball game. Score 48 rather. Is coming in will be Chase Beasley, as well as Kobe Gills. I haven't seen a lot of Kobe Gill. This will be his 12th appearance this season, number 32 with the Rock. So a lot of freshmen getting some playing time today. Gills only scored 18 points this season. Brown with the take, gets inside and couldn't finish the lay-in. We'll go to the free throw line. So that's the 10th team foul, so in the double bonus will be the Falcons with 62 seconds remaining. Once again, when you look at Boise State, what they have done on the road since 2021 has been impressive. Since the start of 2021-2022 season, Boise State, they are 17-9. Counting this win today, they will be 17-9 in road games in the Mountain West. That's the best record in the conference during that stretch. Just again, a team that just continues to go and battle, very physical, and they really take out the crowd.
And again, having those types of traits are teams that can go out and march and be competitive, you know, in tough environments, on neutral courts. I really didn't see this team get rattled a whole lot, even in a really tough first half. A lot of credit to Boise State and their composure. Fouls continuing to pile up a little bit for the Falcons.
As the foul is on Wesley Silahusky, the freshman. Has 6 points today, also has a rebound in 18 minutes of play. He's the future of this program for Air Force. What do you think about his game?
I'm really impressed with him. You know, I think that, you know, his ability to come in and give Bo Becker a break and continue to just trust the process, trust his, you know, maturing and that development. He's just really continued to steadily improve throughout the course of this season. I know head coach Joe Scott talks about him in a really high light. Obviously, his size is something that, you know, you don't see often here at the academy. 7 feet, and definitely the future here, showing a lot of bright spots here this evening.
79.
Winding things down here at Clune Arena. Brown missing a couple of free throws to Jill. Swinging it over. Kearney. Now to Silahusky. 7 seconds on the clock. In the corner. Beasley with the take, gets it stripped away. Back to Jill, and that'll be a shot clock violation with 12.9 seconds to go. Boise State up by 31 points. They will continue to win games in double figures. How about this? This will be the 4th game in a row that they have won in double figures. Just an impressive victory for Boise State as they end this 2-game road trip. First, they beat Wyoming 92-72. Then they take care of the Air Force Falcons by a final score of 79-48. So with that, the Broncos improved to 20-8, and Air Force falls to 9-18. The Boise State Broncos win their 4th game in a row as they take down the Air Force Falcons by a final score of 79-48. Justin Adams and Rachel Galligan. And when you look at this one, in the first half, it was close, it was tight, just a 2-point game. But then in the second half, the lead really expanded as Boise State was able to get whatever shot they wanted and to get the advantage and extend the lead and get the win.
Yeah, I would say the second half was entirely Boise State. Went on a huge run. I mean, some massive runs at times, and Air Force went in some big droughts. 8-minute scoring drought at one point, which allowed Boise State to outscore the Falcons 51-22 in the second half. You know, and really, Falcons went cold. They went cold from the three-point line, and that was the one thing that really kept them in it offensively in the first half.
Well, we talked about that in the first half. If Boise State was able to go and knock down those three-pointers, then the Falcons could be in trouble, and that's exactly what we saw. But we also saw Tyson Degenhart have a really great game. He scored 21 points, had 12 points in the second half. He was the catalyst to the victory today for the Broncos.
Well, I mean, just his offensive, you know, just prowess and how aggressive he is on the offensive glass. Rebounding numbers were a huge differential in the second half, but he did a really good job. I think from the start, the focus was being able to pound the ball in the paint and just insert yourself, insert your will, and just continue to be aggressive. And then Agbo, I mean, was absolutely unbelievable. He was a matchup problem for the Falcons. He was knocking down perimeter shots. He was aggressive to the rim, got himself to the free throw line, finished with 17 points. He was a matchup problem.
Don't forget about Omar Stanley. He also had 15 points for Boise State. But on a positive end, we were able to see a lot of the young guys be able to step up for Air Force. The future was able to make some points out there on hardwood.
Yeah, and Selhowski, the seven-foot freshman, got some really solid minutes here in a big game, going against some big competition, finished with a career-high 6 points. So some bright spots here for the future of this young Air Force Falcon teams. As we take a look at some of the numbers, those turnovers, that was something that really plagued the Falcons early in the first half and then early in the second half. And to me, the biggest differential in this game was how those rebounding numbers were able to be stretched out. Boise State, ended up being really dominant on the glass, out-rebounding the Falcons by 11, 14 second-chance points as well.
Rita Petritis, the only player for the Falcons in double figures with 19 points, but Bo Becker was held scoreless. That's the first time this season he did not score. Also, Ethan Taylor, he fouled out of this game, only had 8 points. Anytime you look at your trio of scores that you have right there and they don't have a lot of production, it makes it very difficult to beat anyone, especially a team like Boise State.
Yeah, and I think that was the game plan for Boise State coming into the game. We're not going to allow that three-headed monster of Bo Becker, Ethan Taylor, and Petritis kind of have their way. We're going to eliminate that. They frustrated Ethan Taylor. They kept Bo Becker out, only had 2 shot attempts. And Rita Petritis, I mean, he was doing everything he can. He, to the very end, was hustling, making plays. But again, you're missing those 2 other scores. That's the difference in the game.
So Boise State stays on top of the Mountain West standings with a victory and a rout here against the Air Force Falcons. Boise State will improve to 20-8 overall and also 11-4 in conference play. And on the other end, when you look at Air Force, they will fall to 9-18 and 2-13 in conference play. Well, it was a game where you look at Air Force, so you said they had a great opportunity to be able to go and pull off the upset. Wasn't able to do so as Boise State scored 51 points in the second half. Air Force only scored 22. So our final score tonight, Boise State 79, Air Force 48. We'll be right back on March 9th at 2 p.m. when the men's basketball team takes on the Colorado State Rams. This has been a presentation of Altitude Sports and Entertainment, your home for the Air Force Falcons. For myself, Justin Adams, and Rachel Galligan, and the entire crew, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you all season long right here on Altitude Sports and Entertainment.